The speakers in our final presentation in today's lead marketing conference from CPG Matters will tell us how using certifications will enhance credibility in the marketplace. Our first speaker is Nikki Smith of the Plant-Based Foods Association. Nikki, the podium is yours.
Thank you, John. So thank you all for joining us on this webinar about third-party certifications and how they can increase your credibility and visibility in the marketplace. Today's session will include both high-level insights and tactical information about certifications. We'll have experts from SPINS, NSF International, and MyForest Foods to cover various aspects of certifications. But first, to introduce myself, I am Nikki Smith. I'm an Associate Director for the Plant-Based Foods Association's Marketplace Development Team. If you're unfamiliar, PBFA is the first and only plant-based foods trade association in the United States. We provide support for our members, act as a voice for the industry, and importantly, we work to ensure retailers, food service owners, and operators and plant-based foods brands have the tools and data they need to make an impact. In 2023, PBFA conducted a survey with Qualtrics to understand how certifications affect consumers. What we found is that a variety of shoppers and consumers engage with certifications, and that third-party verified seals are one of the best ways to illustrate transparency and develop trust and loyalty. When asked how important it is for food products to have certification, 97% of those surveyed believe that certifications were important. This shows not only a high level of engagement, but also illustrates the impact of seals on the packaging. Over the years, shoppers have learned to look for these seals and develop trust and loyalty, not only with the seals, but with the brands that use them and the retailers who carry them. Trust is a major component for shopper loyalty, and while any brand can create their own messaging to convey the product is made with organic or non-GMO or plant-based ingredients, nothing conveys the honest transparency like a third-party verified certification. PBFA's survey included open-ended questions, which gave respondents the ability to voice their skepticism and trust in their own words. On the left, you'll see quotes about non-third-party or self-certifying seals. Some folks responded that anyone could put seals on a product or that you can't trust anything today. But on the right, you'll see that sentiment begin to shift when the certification comes from an independent third party. These comments, such as there are standards you need to pass to acquire the seals, and products go through deep investigation to receive certification, show that consumer trust increases when they know third-party verification is involved. So whether you're a brand or you're a retailer, you probably want to know what all this means. This takes us back to why certifications matter, particularly third-party certifications. Our research has found that certifications impact purchasing behavior. We know that consumers are becoming even more discerning and educated around sustainability issues, climate-friendly foods, and health. Of those surveyed, 98% were aware of food certifications, and 79% indicated that certifications were very or extremely important. 80% of these respondents trust certifications, with 74% indicating that they trust a third-party certified seal over a self-certifying seal or simply words on a package. 40% say they always search for certification, and 21% say that certifications help them make informed purchasing decisions, since these seals can become a shorthand for what is in, and more importantly, what is not in the product, how the product was produced, and why shoppers should choose it. As new generations enter into the marketplace, shopper discernment will only grow with education from brands, retailers, and organizations. Generation Z was born with nearly unlimited access to information and is on the verge of acquiring their purchasing power. We will soon see this generation's true values around transparency, sustainability, and convenience play out in the marketplace. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Megan to talk a little more about the importance of certification. Megan is the Director of Product Intelligence and Certification Partnerships with SPINS.
Thanks, Nikki. Hi, everyone. My name is Megan Mahan, and I am so elated to be here today and joining the Lead Marketing Conference on the importance of certifications. I'm extremely lucky. I get to handle all of our product intelligence certification partnerships at SPINS. So that means I have the privilege of working with our dynamic certifier partners, just like Plant-Based Food Association, every day as they continue to change the landscape of how consumer product goods are being made and purchased. My own passion for consumer attribution and awareness was ignited when I ran a startup company called Food Facts, which SPINS later acquired. It was a nutritional ingredient startup database that broke down the ingredients inside products, and it would allow consumers to know what was really in the foods they were eating. Because as we all know, the scary reality is that new ingredients are formed every day in the United States, and it becomes even more challenging for consumers to decipher what's in the products they are purchasing. If you haven't already heard or worked with SPINS, you might be asking, who are we? In short, we are a health and wellness consumer product data goods company who provides insight and analytics to the market. We work with brands by providing those insights to elevate their health and wellness focused products to the market. We also work with retailers and deliver critical analysis tools for everything from product assortments to purchasing to shelving. And by working with our strategic partners like Plant-Based Food Association, we aim to help elevate their space in the health and wellness sector. Unlike other data companies, SPINS was created solely on a mission of inspiring and elevating the pursuit of wellness purchasing to consumers all over the country. SPINS empowers the CPG industry with health and wellness data technology through our point of sale data, our product intelligence, and our consumer panel data. So by working with brands and retailers and strategic partners like Plant-Based Food Association, we deliver those insights and analytic tools, and we help get those products to the shelves and then provide the proper assortment for consumers to purchase them. Our ability to capture the market holistically is in part because of our conventional partnership with Circana, which was formerly IRI, and our expansive network of our own proprietary retail partners. When we partner with Circana, we can really focus on what SPINS does best, which is that health and wellness sector. So with our exclusive and proprietary retail partners, we can capture those, health and wellness market and segment data to create those insights into naturally positioned products. As we know, the health and wellness market continues to grow exponentially in the past couple of years, and naturally positioned products continue to be the growth driver. So at the very foundation of SPINS is product attribution. With over 3 million UPC products in our product intelligence library and several hundred attributes, we enable front to back and beyond the label packaging transparency, which is so key and integral, especially for consumers today. Modern commerce is powered through changing shopper preferences, and our SPINS proprietary product intelligence can uncover those. There's over 50 million Americans currently suffering from food allergies, and health and wellness brands are laser focused on the ingredients going into their products because consumers need that wellness and socially conscious products to make a positive and healthy impact on them and their families' lives. Through our product intelligence coding and our dynamic partnerships with certifications, we can show retailers exactly what certified products they should be lining their shelves with based on their consumer preferences. We are listening to consumers, and we know that food transparency heavily influences their purchasing power across the board. As products evolve, consumer preferences and shopping and how they shop evolve. Certifications enable consumers to be able to decipher labels that can often be confusing. We know that consumers are highly concerned with the impact of our climate on our nation's food supply. And this makes a more conscious consumer take the time to label check all the foods they purchase. In today's consumption driven world, shoppers can trust certifications like Plant-Based Food Association, and that enables them to provide that transparency and trust for products they are purchasing. Certifications make it easier for shoppers to understand what they're getting and helps them make educated choices while they're shopping. Deciphering label claims and greenwashing can often be problematic for consumers, but certifications can truly provide that trust and verification for them. So we know consumers want transparency. Then certifications, we know, are the most direct way for them to trust and verify what's inside the foods they are purchasing. At times, we know label claims, especially at spins and how we code, can be very confusing for a consumer. Um, Ingredient statements can be like reading a science textbook, I feel like, in the United States. There's so many different ingredients on a label pack, and trying to decipher exactly what something is or associate it to another ingredient gets so confusing for a consumer. When a brand works with a certification, they're showing their commitment to their consumers' health and their social consciousness and preferences by utilizing a certification. So it comes as no shock that consumers are obviously so concerned about what they're putting on in their what they're putting in and outside their bodies. So by, retailers and brands utilizing certifications, they can really provide that trust and transparency to their consumers. It makes it easy to find products that they need that fit their lifestyle and just makes it all around a better world for our consumers. So within Spins, we do our own panel research and data. So, across the board, we're seeing that 49% of consumers are value oriented shoppers. It comes as no shock that they're concerned about food transparency, as ingredients are the most conscious consumers in everything that affects what they put in and outside their body. We see that 8 out of 10 value oriented shoppers state that animal welfare, environmental welfare, labor worker welfare, and or ingredient sourcing was personally important to them. Key points that are continuing to tell the narrative of the conscious consumer is the sourcing of ingredients and how they affect and may potentially affect our planet. We see this across the board every year. Even as inflation rises, we are seeing that conscious consumer care about how their product is made, what's going into it, how it can affect them, and really like how it affects their family. At Spins, we rely on our point of sale and consumer panel data to gain these insights and deliver to consumers what they really care about. And we know that consumers are focused on sustainability and the products they are putting not only inside, but outside of their bodies. And in short, purchasing products that are overall good for the planet. So across all of we track hundreds of sustainable attributes at Spin. So across all sustainable attributes we're tracking, we continue to see a steady growth despite the rise of inflation across all sustainable attributes. And that includes certifications, most importantly. And we're, of course, seeing a lot of exciting innovations that are going to continue to translate product creation for the years to come. But it's so important, especially to our consumers, about how these products are made and how they're affecting the environment. So despite that rising pressure of inflation that we're continuing to see over the past couple of years, a great majority of consumers of all ages are willing to pay for more sustainable and transparent products. Through social consciousness, we know is an important factor in the decision making of purchasing products. Consumers are still having a difficult time identifying these brands. And that's what makes a certification so integral on a package labeling. I always say to every certifier that we work with, like, certifications really got their just due during COVID. It was a very difficult time, not being able to go into a grocery store, not being able to really examine and navigate a product, and especially when all of our white label services weren't completely up to date on product ingredients and statements, certifications stand it out. It's the easiest way for a consumer to trust and have that verification that they know what's inside that product is good for them and it is aligning with their preferences and their values. Um, as we see here on some of our, rising trends, where it's not a shock to see plant-based categories and subcategories. I went to Plant-Based Expo this past September, and it was amazing for me to see all of the products that were there and that were plant-based, but also in line with other certifications. So when we see other certifications joining together on a package, it just makes that preference for a shopper so much easier. I say it all the time. I will buy a product that has 6 certifications or as many as possible because I know that brand is dedicated to the health and wellness sector of that product. They are making sure that their consumers' needs are met, and they know that by that value-driven home and that trust and transparency, it makes it easier for them, to focus on marketing their product, but most especially for consumers to see that certification. Um, it's so easy to see that certifications with missions like Plant-Based Food Association are resonating with consumers and translating into purchasing and increasing dollar sales. It's really a true testament to them and all the brands and products that are certified. They are giving full transparency into what the foods and products they are purchasing. In short, we look at certifications at Spins as one of the most transparent and economically sustainable ways for brands to further themselves in the market. Spins is extremely honored to be working along certifications like Plant-Based Food Association to drive these insights even further into the total market for retailer and consumers. Thank you. And if anyone has any questions, you can contact me at my email.
Thank you so much, Megan. Now let's hear from Jen, who is the Food Product Claims Technical Scheme Leader for NSF International. She's going to help us understand the value and the process for these certifications.
Thank you, Nikki. I'm Jen Berkebile. As Nikki said, I'm the Technical Scheme Lead for Food Product Claims at NSF. We offer a variety of on-pack certification claims in the food space. And I'm excited to be here today to talk about NSF's role as a certifier using the Plant-Based Foods Association's Plant-Based Claim Certification Program as an example. NSF is a globally recognized organization for public health standards. We conduct testing, auditing, and certification supported by accredited labs. Additionally, we provide top-tier consulting and training for brands and businesses. Since 1944, our mission has been to improve human and planet health. This mission is carried out by thousands of team members around the world, including microbiologists, toxicologists, chemists, engineers, and environmental and public health professionals. NSF offers certification to a variety of label claims. As we've heard, some of the benefits of certification of label claims include increased product sales, communication of brand values, and providing proof of process and quality assurance, to name a few. As Nikki and Megan both highlighted, trust is key with the consumer. Certification provides a third-party verification that what the label says is actually true because someone is verifying it. I want to dive deeper into exactly what it is that a certifier does to verify label claims and provide this level of trust for the consumer. Firstly, and perhaps most importantly, certification defines your label claim, giving consistent meaning to the claim and ensuring that all products meet that definition. Let's talk about the claim natural, for example, which I know I see on a variety of products. A self-made label claim of natural doesn't have one standard universal definition. So what one manufacturer means when they label their product as natural might differ from what another manufacturer means, and that might differ still from what a consumer understands the word natural to mean. On the other hand, a product that is certified plant-based, for example, has a clear, written, consistent definition that all products are verified to meet. Certification gives this label claim meaning. The plant-based food standards clearly define what types of products are eligible for certification. This includes tofu and tempeh, plant-based meat, plant-based milk, plant-based dairy, eggs and mayonnaise, plant-based meals, baked goods, snacks, etc. The plant-based standards also clarify what types of products are not allowed, including any product containing any amount of animal-derived ingredients, as well as single-ingredient raw foods, alcohol, tobacco, dietary supplements, excluding protein powder, and personal care and household products. And most importantly, the plant-based standards clarify that plant-based products may not contain any animal materials, must contain at least 90% plant-based ingredients, and products must be marketed for sale in the US or Canada. Finally, facilities manufacturing plant-based products that also process animal ingredients must have either a valid third-party certificate, such as an organic certificate, or SOPs on traceability and segregation. In general, third-party certification involves an in-depth review of products and manufacturing facilities, ensuring that the requirements of the standards are met. Now that we know what the PBFA standards require, let's discuss this in-depth review in the next few slides. The plant-based certification process is fairly straightforward, and I'm going to walk you through it to demonstrate the certification process. In step 1, shown on the left here, an applicant contacts NSF to inquire about plant-based certification and signs the contract to start the process. At this point, the applicant is assigned to a dedicated account manager. This account manager is their single point of contact, guiding them through the process. They will request required documents from the applicant, including the client account form, which the client fills out with all facilities, products, and ingredients, product labels and formulations, ingredient documentation, and facility SOPs or certificates, if necessary. One of the more complex parts of plant-based certification specifically is ingredient verification. The client must submit documentation for each ingredient in the formula showing the composition. Documentation must confirm that the ingredient is not of animal origin, and it must demonstrate that the ingredient's plant-based percentage. Spec sheets are the most commonly submitted documentation type, and if the spec sheet lists all sub-ingredients and sub-ingredient percentages, that may be sufficient to determine if the ingredient is compliant. Sometimes, though, a spec sheet may not be enough to determine whether or not an ingredient is plant-based. If not, the sub-ingredient percent composition form can be used to show the percentage of each sub-ingredient and its source. In the case of natural flavors, the natural flavor declaration can confirm that the source of the flavor are not animal origin and that the flavor meets the definition of natural flavor, making the flavor 100% plant-based. When a percentage breakdown of an ingredient is not required, we can also accept a completed ingredient declaration to confirm no animal-derived ingredients. Is your head spinning? I go into this much detail not necessarily because you need to know all of this, but to demonstrate the thoroughness of the verification process with certification and to demonstrate that NSF has the knowledge and expertise to review your application and request the appropriate documentation to demonstrate compliance, making the certification process smooth for you and ensuring that your label claim is truthful. In the second step, shown in the second box here, a technical reviewer at NSF evaluates the submitted documentation for compliance with the certified plant-based standards. We review the labels, product formulations, and ingredients. We look for any prohibited ingredients such as casein, ghee, honey, rennet, all of which are derived from animals and would disqualify the product. We also look for red flag ingredients such as colors, enzymes, flavors, certain vitamins, any of these which may or may not come from animal sources. We verify that all ingredients are not of animal origin, and we confirm that products are at least 90% plant-based. Now, this slide does not necessarily apply to plant-based certification, but many certifications require facility audits and/or testing, shown in the third and fourth box here. The audit is typically on-site and includes an opening meeting with relevant staff, a facility walkthrough, and a paperwork review. The audit may also include a traceback audit, a mass balance exercise, employee interviews, and a sample collection. Testing may be completed using the sample collected at the audit or using a sample sent directly to the lab by the client. Samples are tested at the NSF laboratory or at an external lab that is approved by NSF. As a result of the application review and the audit and testing, if applicable, a client may be issued findings. This is the third step shown on the slide here. Findings are issued if documentation is unclear, missing, or non-compliant with the standards. For plant-based certification specifically, the findings typically are requesting additional documentation to verify ingredient compliance. The applicant must respond to all findings. If the response is not sufficient, the technical reviewer will request additional information. Finally, the last step shown on the right, if the client responds to all findings satisfactorily, the client is certified and the plant-based certificate is issued. This is also the point in the process where the client is authorized to use the plant-based certification logo on their approved products. The amount of time it takes to get your product certified depends on the standard that you are certifying to. The certification process for standards requiring an audit or testing will likely take longer than standards without, but overall, plant-based certification takes an estimated 4 to 7 weeks in total, depending on the readiness of the client and the response time to findings. Certification is renewed annually, but of course, throughout the year, in between the renewal, clients are able to reach out to NSF and add new products, update formulations, update labels, etc. So, as we've discussed, product certification defines your label claim and provides assurance through thorough third-party verification that your label claim is truthful. Of course, it is also a marketing tool, allowing your products to reach target consumers. Plant-based certification with NSF, for example, allows you to define plant-based foods for consumers and retailers, amplify your brand and build loyalty with the 40% of consumers reducing their meat intake and seeking plant-based options, support climate-friendly agricultural practices that resonate with issue-conscious consumers, and you can save time and money by bundling with one of the many other certifications that NSF offers. I'll talk about that in a few slides. When you certify your products with NSF, you're not just building trust by ensuring that your products meet the relevant standards, you're also building trust by working with a company that has 80 years of experience delivering assurance across the food industry internationally, ensuring food safety and enabling organizations to deliver customer and consumer confidence. NSF certification is a pledge of assurance. It signifies that our products consistently meet or exceed standards, instilling confidence in quality and safety for consumers, retailers, and regulators. NSF has certified over 657,000 products, and we conduct over 300,000 audits annually worldwide, and we have over 160 published standards and protocols. Our 2021 brand research validates that NSF is seen as trustworthy, respected, high quality, and reliable. 59% of brands and companies said NSF certification for a food or beverage product would be favorable to both the product and the company. NSF's partnerships throughout the industry demonstrate our experience and expertise. We've worked with the USDA, FDA, ANSI, and Health Canada, to name a few. And as I've mentioned, NSF offers several other food-related certification services, including organic, gluten-free, non-GMO project, kosher, and several food safety certifications. We also offer dietary supplement certification, true source honey raised without antibiotics, bottled water, and packaged ice certifications. Finally, NSF offers services in several other areas such as food agriculture, food packaging, food retail, and grocery, to name a few. NSF can be your one-stop shop for not just certification, but also for training, consulting, any of your company's needs. Thank you for your time. I hope that my part of the presentation helped you to understand the role of the certifier and highlighted the benefits of product certification and of working with NSF. Visit our website to learn more or reach out to me directly with any questions. I'll turn it back to Nikki.
Thank you so much, Jen. Now we'll hear from Sarah Marie Cole, Chief Marketing Officer for MyForest Foods, maker of My Bacon, to help us understand the brand perspective around certifications and how they can help tell your story.
Awesome. Thank you, Nikki and Jen and Megan. I think I can maybe connect all the dots between all of everything that you spoke so beautifully about into a nice little case study example from MyForest Foods. So at MyForest Foods, makers of My Bacon, we grow a whole new crop. It's we call it air mycelium. It's the roots of mushrooms. We farm them in a really unique, cool way in upstate New York, where we sort of trick the roots, the mycelium of mushrooms, to grow up and into the air. And when they do that, all those little mycelium threads form together to create a solid structure with amazing taste and texture that is really close to resembling meat. It tastes great, it's amazing, but it's a whole new, it's something that consumers, that retailers, that chefs, that, it's a new food, a new green, nobody knows what this is. And so as we, started to put our plan together for how we were going to go to market, certifications were such a huge piece of, what do we put on packaging? What do we verify and validate with a third party that will give consumers confidence to purchase and try give our product a chance? And our first certification was with the Plant-Based Foods Association with NSF. And we just felt like that was the most important one to start with. It checks all the boxes for us on the, being meatless, but then the quality standards that are that we are held to for this certification, and how well respected it is with our retailers, with the buyers, and with consumers. So we started there. There are so many additional certifications we could go and get. But being a startup, a lot of these certifications can be expensive. So we had to kind of weigh out, how we move through the journey and keep adding certifications as we go. So plant-based certified was first. We then quickly followed with keto. We realized that one being free from meat was such a big, it's a big claim for us, but so is the health benefits of this product, or the health properties, I should say. And so being able, because we are also gluten-free, keto helped us to emphasize that without getting an additional gluten-free certification, but also address carbs and sugar, which the product is low in. And we know a lot of people are looking for those kinds of solutions. So we've added that. And since we talked about being part of this webinar together, we have completed kosher certification. And we are also almost all the way through organic certification. We've been able to put on the nutrition facts label that the mycelium is certified, the coconut oil, and the sugar, and then salt is natural. And then we're still working on the natural flavors, but that's just a paperwork piece. And so we'll be able to be certified organic as well. But really the importance, for us, when you're launching a new product, the third-party certifications are just they're such validators to help tell your story, to give consumers trust, and even the retailers and the buyers and food service providers that we speak to, they're looking for that verification that we've been checked beyond just making self claims. So really, we also are members of the Plant-Based Foods Association, and between that and the partnership that comes from being a member there, but then also the certifying part that's on our label is has just been amazing. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at. You can see like front and center on our label. There it is.
Thank you so much, Sarah Marie.
You're welcome.
Just to close us out, I want to delve into one specific certification that we've heard about a little bit throughout this webinar. It is available through NSF, and it is our Certified Plant-Based Seal. This seal was created in 2018 as a way to help bring a definition of plant-based into the marketplace. With so many items or so many terms being slapped on the front of packages, there was an opportunity to ensure a common understanding of the term plant-based, which led to the creation of the seal. This certification is verified by a third party to ensure that the finished product, as Jen said, is made without animal ingredients. In the 2023 survey, 70% of respondents were already aware of the plant-based or the certified plant-based seal, which shows the value of the certification after only 5 years in the market. If you compare that to USDA Organic, which has been in the market for 22 years, they have an 85% consumer awareness, and non-GMO, which has a 77% awareness after 12 years. This clearly demonstrates the momentum of the certified plant-based seal and the plant-based movement as a whole. Just to touch on the plant-based movement's growth for a moment, from when PBFA first started reporting plant-based retail sales in 2018, the industry has grown 79%. In 2018, the industry was valued at $4.5 billion and composed of 6 main product categories. 6 years and 1 pandemic later, the plant-based industry has now reached $8.1 billion, virtually doubling in size. The strength of this number shows that plant-based is healthy and thriving despite setbacks that most categories experienced during the stabilizing years after the pandemic. So who are these plant-based consumers driving the steady and continued growth? We continue to uncover just how diverse the plant-based consumer is. According to household panel data from Circana, plant-based shoppers span all ages and income levels. On the right, you'll see that shoppers were skewed towards a higher income level. Plant-based shoppers tend to spend more overall, which makes them valuable shoppers to retailers. And these are the same folks who shop certifications more. Higher income shoppers not only look for certifications more, but 90% of these shoppers said that certifications impact their purchasing decisions, with over 47% of those indicating that certifications impact those choices a lot. A consumer survey we conducted with 8451 last year also revealed that shoppers who increased their spend on plant-based foods were motivated by various reasons. Over 50% were motivated by their perception of plant-based foods being healthier than animal-based foods, and 33% were driven by the perception of plant-based foods being better for the environment. Certified plant-based can help shoppers looking for better for you and better for the environment products by translating time and energy spent in researching into a helpful seal. They know what means when they see it on the package. They know that food is food that they can trust. Because many manufacturers can put the term plant-based on their packages where the finished product only contains some plant-based ingredients, there is some confusion among consumers on what the term means. Our survey showed that only 75% of respondents believed it meant 100% plant-based with no animal ingredients. This is where that third-party verification seal of certified plant-based becomes the way for consumers to know the food will have no animal-based ingredients in it, period. Finally, we know that words like vegan are becoming polarizing. with some shoppers rejecting products with this word on them because they think they need to adhere to one type of philosophy. With certified plant-based, you have an inclusive messaging that appeals to all eaters. With this seal, you're clarifying what is not in the food while not expecting your customer to adhere to one lifestyle or diet choice. The seal is inclusive and it communicates the brand's commitment to sustainability and other values important to consumers. This all makes the certified plant-based a valuable seal, and it is also a more cost-effective seal than some other food certifications. But before we get to any questions that may have popped up during the webinar, I want to thank you so much for joining us to learn more about why third-party certifications matter and how you can get involved. I also want to thank our amazing speakers who spoke eloquently on certifications in general. And please feel free to reach out to any one of us for more information on plant-based certifications in general, and our organizations. And now I'm going to turn it back over to John.
Okay, thank you, Nikki. Yes, we've had some questions come in our chat box. Let me start reading them off here. The first one, which is very interesting, with the rising cost of doing business, why would spending money on third-party certifications be a good investment?
I think Sarah Marie touched on a lot of this, and actually Megan and Jen as well discussed the bundling and what it essentially, you can save money on bundling, but the investment portion of it, from my perspective, is that you are skipping a lot of that heavy marketing labor by basically investing in symbols and seals that are already known to your consumers and really illustrating the value of your brand and what your brand brings to sustainability, to lifestyle choices. And to me, this helps you save money in other areas.
Okay, next question. For the eco-conscious consumer, what types of certifications resonate most with shoppers? Anybody?
There's so many. We could go down the list, but in the sustainability front, SPINS personally works with both fair trade associations, non-GMO Project Verified, Regenerative Organic, Plant-Based Food Association, Environmental Working Group. These really resonate with consumers because, like I said, within my portion, it's not just what's, consumers are eating, it's what's going, on their bodies, what their families, are ingesting as well. And not to mention like the social consciousness of just so many brands as well. Like consumers are really looking at what brands are aligned with women's owned and national minority supplier council. Consumers are smart and they're really savvy now. They know there's a lot of table stakes in our world right now. So it's constantly evolving, but those social, and honestly, every certification is really a social conscious certification, because what these certifiers are doing is unparalleled. We work with brands and retailers both. And when I talk to both brands and retailers, I always say to them, like, lean on a certification. You have so much that you need to do to put your product into the market or to sell it that, relying on your own self-claim, self-made claims are difficult. Ingredient statements are consistently changing, and certifiers are at the forefront with it. And then having, a third-party verification like NSF, it just makes your job easier.
Alrighty. Next question. There are so many certifications out there. Do you see any that work best bundled together?
Great
I
question.
think that, yeah, it's a great question. I think just to jump in, I think it all depends on your product. We made a matrix that we looked at when it came time to consider what we were going to do and what were the benefits from each one. And, down the list of like, what are the certifications? What do we qualify for? or like, what did, what, and then how much work did each one is each involved in each one, and the cost for each one. And then we just kind of lined up where it made sense for us to go based on the story that we need to tell for us specifically. So I think depending on your product, and depending on your consumer, doing that matrix can help you figure out really at least where to start. You may want to achieve the whole list, but at least, especially for a startup, to like narrow down where this the best places to play. I think you look for those intersections. At least that's what we did to get to where we are today.
All righty, and the last question we have here is, what is the best place to start for brands interested in telling their sustainability story through certifications?
I would say start at NSF. Come to our sales team. We will help guide you through the process of what certifications are appropriate for you, what certifications match what you're looking for. Like Sarah said, what certifications are best for your product, for the consumers you're trying to target, for the markets that you're in or the markets that you're trying to break into. NSF, again, can really be a one-stop shop to help you from that very starting point all the way through issuing your certificate or certificates if you want more than one.
Okay, well, that's all the questions we had. To follow up with any of our speakers and to continue the conversation, you can reach out to them. Their emails are on the screen. And thank you all. It was outstanding, very interesting, and a very topical conversation today on a very important topic. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.